Hey guys, it's Gemma Cherie here from GSL Makeup. Now today I'm going to be doing a tutorial for you guys about victory rolls. Now this is a style that I wear quite often when I go out to vintage car events, that sort of thing, and I'm going to be using just a regular everyday pretty small barreled curling iron. It's nothing special. I'm using this Hydra Curls mousse and just Tresemme hairspray. These are not expensive products. Bit of dry shampoo I've got there as well. Again, you don't really have to have any specific type. I also had a little bit of shine spray, a Denman brush, and a tail comb. Over here I've also got some bobby pins and some pin curl clips. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is put my hair into 3 sections. The first section is going to be this middle one, and that's going to be my fringe section. I'm taking it quite far back, and that's because I'm growing out my fringe, so I want to get some of that long hair right in the back there. It doesn't have to be super neat. We're just going to put that up for later. And we're going to start on our first victory roll section. So taking it from the middle of my crown down sort of in a semicircle to the back of my ear, and I'll just show you that's the shape that you're after. And once again, just put that up for later, we'll come back to that. Once again, an exact same parting, the same as you did on the other side, because these victory rolls are going to be the same size and the same shape on each side. Now that bit at the back, I'm just going to put it in a ponytail. So you ended up with basically 4 sections. So the first thing that I'm going to do, my hair was super dirty. It's like 3rd or 4th day. It was pretty disgusting actually. So this style is really good to do if you've got super dirty hair. I just put in a little bit of mousse, and now I'm just going to add some dry shampoo to the roots. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is each victory roll section I'm going to part into 3 sections, working my way from the top to the bottom. I'm going to add a little bit of spray, brush it through, and then I'm going to curl it upwards. It doesn't have to be perfect. And if you're anything like me, I find it very difficult to do my own hair. I'm pretty uncoordinated, especially when it comes to using curling irons on myself. I'm much more comfortable doing somebody else's hair. When it comes to doing my own hair, not so much. Once I've got my first pin curl, I'm going to take one of these big alligator clips. They're the aluminium kind, and I'm just going to secure that pin curl into place. I'm just speeding up the video now because I'm pretty much doing the same thing underneath the first pin curl, and then I'm going to do another one underneath that. So you kind of end up with kind of like a little bit of a 18th century, kind of like a Marie Antoinette sort of a look. I'm adding a little bit more mousse on the other side, and if your hair's really dirty like mine, you can go ahead and add a little bit more dry shampoo. Not only will it take away some of that oil, but it's going to help you add the height, and for this look we want the height. It's big hair, don't care. So after we've done that section, we're going to move on to the fringe. So I'm just adding a little bit more dry shampoo and a little bit more mousse. and I'm taking the sections front to back. So I'm going to curl them to the side that I want them to be curled over to in the end. And while the video is going, I'm just going to explain a little bit about why I'm doing this video. So I'm supporting Cars for Kids, which is a pin-up competition and hot rod show that's going to be happening just outside of Melbourne on Good Friday, which is next month, or end of this month. And it's being put on by a couple of pin-ups from Melbourne called Lizzie Lavette and Nina Las Vegas. It's for a really good cause. The proceeds will be going to the Children's Hospital, and I just thought I'd make a couple of videos to help the pin-up entrants in case they're feeling a little bit underconfident when it comes to perhaps doing their hair, and if they're looking for some ideas. So here's our pin curls, all done. We're going to take out the side 3 and we're going to start on our first victory roll. So I'm brushing each section, adding a little bit of dry shampoo to the roots and a little bit of hairspray. The hairspray that I use is quite strong. And then using my Denman brush, I'm going to back comb it. I like to use the Denman brush for back combing because it's not a dense back comb that you're never going to be able to get out of your hair. It lets you get big hair without having like a matted effect on your hair. But having said that, sometimes I do use my tail comb to back comb as well. Sometimes I spray the dry shampoo before I spray the hairspray because it takes that whiteness, that white powdery effect away from my hair. Because I have dark hair, that white powdery look, it's not a good look. So I'm taking my Mason and Pearson boar bristle brush, and the reason that I'm using this is just to smooth out the outside of my hair. I don't want the brush to be going all the way through and ruining all that fabulous back combing that I've done. So the reason I'm using the Mason Pearson is because it makes the outside of the hair look really smooth, but you've still got that volume. I'm taking a little bit of hairspray and I'm smoothing with my hand, and then I'm taking the hairspray, spraying again, and that's because you want the outside to be really smooth with a really lovely glassy finish. Taking my 2 fingers and wrapping my hair around my 2 fingers, and once you've got a nice little shape there, you can go ahead and roll the victory roll down towards your head. This will take practice. Now I'm happy with that one. So I'm going to take a bobby pin and I'm going to just put it in the front of the victory roll. When you've got this much product in your hair and this much back combing, you'd be surprised at how much one bobby pin will hold. And I'm putting one in the back as well. Now it's not perfect, so we're just going to mess with it. First of all, I want to get that shine happening, and I'm going to fix all the flyaways. This can take a couple of sprays and a little bit of just smoothing with your hands. If you want to, you could even use a hairdryer to smooth it. So once I'm happy with that, I'm going to add a couple more bobby pins. I usually use about 4 or 5 bobby pins in each victory roll. If you have colour treated hair, you'll probably need less. So these clips I call U-clips. I don't actually know if that's what they're called, but I just call them U-clips. Now with victory rolls, and everybody does victory rolls differently. I don't personally like the type of victory rolls that you can see through from front to back. so I like to close mine off at the back. So I take my opposite hand, so I use my left hand on my right victory roll, and I'm just gonna manipulate the hair and close it off at the back, and then secure it with a little U-clip. And I usually jiggle the U-clip in, up and down, so that it goes through your hair and really secures it. Nice and neat. You can use another U-clip if you want to, but I usually don't use more than 2. So moving on to the other victory roll, I've speeded this one up. Once again, we're just going to add a little bit of dry shampoo, a little bit of hairspray, and we're going to back comb with the Denman brush and flip it over the head. Here comes the Mason Pearson brush. Mason and Pearson brushes are very expensive. You don't really need one. You can get other boar bristle brushes, they're on the market. I have a different one, I think it's by the brand High Lift, and it cost me about $15. So there are cheaper alternatives. So we're smoothing and spraying, and I'm just checking to see that they're the same height. Quite often I'll do my victory rolls one bigger than the other. That's my usual victory roll look, but with these I wanted them to be really run-of-the-mill victory rolls. Once again, taking that U-clip, and I'm going to close off the victory roll at the back. And I'm just sort of taking a little piece of hair at a time, just messing with the victory roll and separating it out. Next we're moving on to our fringe. So we'll take those pins out and we'll brush out the curls pretty roughly. You don't really have to be too neat and tidy with this. And I'm going to take them in sections again and add a little bit more dry shampoo. We want the fringe to be quite big, so add your dry shampoo, and this time I've actually back combed with my tail comb because I do want the back combing on this to be more dense. I've taken the sections side by side because I want the roll to go from right to left, if that makes sense. But having said that, it's a front roll, but it's kind of a front roll that goes right to left. Okay, so taking my Mason Pearson brush and smoothing that out, what I want is for it to come up and then fall over my hand like this, because we want that big defined wave. So smooth it out as much as you need to, and then like with the victory curls, the victory rolls, you're going to take it around your 2 fingers and roll it downwards. So the victory rolls go upwards, this roll goes downwards. And once I'm happy with that, I'll secure it with a couple of bobby pins. I usually just secure it with 1 or 2 bobby pins just to see if I like it first. Now you'll see that we've got a gap here in between the roll fringe and the victory roll. And I'm not really into gaps like that, so I'm going to take the roll fringe and I'm just going to tease it out with my fingers and just elongate a little bit and sort of match it up to the victory roll, so it looks like the victory roll is sort of meshing into the fringe. Taking one of those U-clips again, and I'm just going to put that in between the fringe and the victory roll. Then you can mess with it and make the shape how you like it. I'm quite liking that sort of S shape in the front there, There aren't really any rules. If you want to have it a certain way, you can totally go and do it. I like mine quite neat and tidy, but big. Now the back, if you wanted to, you could take up into a roll like that, or you can just go ahead and curl it. So adding a little bit more mousse and brushing it through, I'm going to take 7 or 8 sections and I'm just going to curl it with my curling iron, and I'm going to do it in ringlets. What that basically means is that it's going flat over the curling iron, so it's not going in spirals, it's just going in flat. And once I've held it for about 8 seconds in the curling iron, I'm going to take the curls while they're still hot and just pin them up to cool. Now I do this thing quite often where I do the curls over to one side, over one shoulder. I like the way that it looks. It is a little bit saloon or a little bit Parisian showgirl. I have to admit, I mostly just do it because I don't like curling the back of my head, and it's just really easy to curl over one shoulder. Just here I'm adding some shine spray. There's lots of different types of shine sprays on the market that you can get in your salon. Adding a flower. And after they've cooled, I'm taking out the alligator clips, and you can either leave those curls loose like that, or you can sort of brush them into one. I quite often brush over my hand like that. And that's the finished look. It took me about 40 minutes in total. I'd love for you guys to try it. Hashtag GSL makeup if you do, so that I can see. And I'll see you guys later.